Hey, everybody. Thought tonight would be a super great subject here to talk about fear. And fear is, let me throw it up here for you. Let's see. Boom. There you go. Fear is an illness. And the thing about this illness is if it's left untreated, fear will consume you. It'll consume you. It will take over your mind. It'll start to affect your body, and then it'll start to affect your spirit. And if you look at fear in the mind, just look at pandemic and situations like that. And I'm going to give you some examples from me. And make sure if you jumped on, like, type in the chat bar, say hello here. If you look at fear, it starts in one of the senses of some kind, right? It triggers something that is a reference to another time. And all of a sudden, this fear creeps in. Fear of death, fear of sickness, fear of getting hurt, fear of losing money, fear of suffering and staying in a job that you can't stand, right? Fear of bills. And all of this starts to grow. It starts to just manifest. And then if it's left untreated, the fear starts to consume you and you start to feel sense of sickness, fatigue, distraction, confusion, and it all starts to affect your physical body. Now, when the mind and the body are not aligned, right? Well, first off, remember the mind, anything that it's scared of wants to destroy it and make it go away. Your mind doesn't want to let you down. So that fear starts to consume you and says, you know what? Break this body down. When the body starts to break down and the mind's telling it, your spirit, your connection to whatever you believe in, your connection to be able to go and accomplish things goes away. So let me give you some different times in my life where I had to look fear, deep in its face. And I've had a lot. I've had business times with fear when I was being sued for millions and millions of dollars, settled at $1 million. I thought that was going to put us out of business. And what happened was it started to create a lot of fear. Lawsuits can do that. And I don't know about you. I've been through a fair amount of lawsuits. Majority of them, trying to think if any were my fault. I could have maybe made better decisions to get rid of them quicker, but the majority were not my fault because I hold myself to a real high standard of honor. But most of the world holds their self to a standard of fear, and fear normally will put people into attacking people to get what they want in the easiest way possible, right? Other things that I feared was fear of starting my own business at one time. Now, this goes back to 1994, right? I think that's when we started, February 94 is when we started Gold Medal Service. It was actually Gold Medal Electric. And then there was fear to start own business, like, can I do it? Can we get enough work to pay ourselves? Then there was fear of hiring people, right? And then I remember martial arts test that I had, where I had to face this sense of what's going to happen. Now, I'm going to give you the opposite side of fear. A couple of my martial arts tests for my black belt in Kararubudo, it's 200 attacks, right? The people attacking you could grab a knife, a shotgun, a bat, a golf club. Jump you from behind. At the end of the test, you're broken up, you're black and blue. But going into that, you already have this anticipation of what could happen. And you could only have three things that if those 3 attacks would have taken you out, then you fail the test, right? So the question is, are you dealing with fear, and how do you tackle this fear? First, understand you have it, okay? First, understand you have it, you're facing it, or you feel like you're going to face it. Number two is to have a really good strategy to deal with this, right? I mean, I even look back when I go back in time, and this goes back seven years ago, maybe almost 8 years ago, after I was already very successful in the service company. Probably back then was doing 24 or $28 million in residential service. Let me take it back even further than that. Let's go back further. Let's go really, really far back. Okay. I remember having a mortgage at 19 years old. I think the mortgage was $1,300. And I had to figure out a way to pay this mortgage myself. Whole situation happened. I was facing this mortgage, $1,300. Now, the world today as it stands, they would not pay their rent, wait till they're thrown out, jerk around somebody for a couple years till they get evicted. Again, I'm an honor person. I never missed a payment. What did I do? I doubled down. I figured it out. 19 years old, $1,300 mortgage. After 7 years on that mortgage, I think I paid off $1,000 because the interest rate was like, I don't know, 18% back then. Okay, this goes back quite a while. And I have that sense of like that moment of gut fear, like, how am I going to do this? How am I going to manage these type of bills myself? How am I going to make this money? And then I said, okay, there's a solution. Work more or find a way to be smarter. That's it. I had to do both back then. So I was an electrician in a truck. I think I was making all power electric. I think I was making $13 an hour. Do the math on what it takes at $13 an hour to make this mortgage. I started teaching martial arts to people for $10 a class. And at one time, I probably had 20 or 30 students 3 nights a week. So I was making money there. Then I was taking on any side electrical job that I could get, or if somebody needed help. And long story short, I turned the fear, and I want you to write this down, everybody. I turned fear into focus, real focus. Because I never wanted to be one of those people that is a statistic, right? Or a victim that gets to go, oh, well, I'm just like everyone else. Everyone else can't pay their bills, right? Everyone else is doing that. And in the end, then I had another fear. So I'm taking you back some timelines, and I want you to see yourself within your timeline. And maybe this is the perfect message for some of you, or maybe you don't need this at all. So then go back to, there's a moment where my wife and I, we're going to get ready. We know we're going to be wanting to get married. We're going to want to have children. We live in this townhouse. It's 3 floors. It's in New Brunswick. Not a bad area, but not the best area. And I did not want to have my beautiful pregnant wife have to go up a flight of steps, then up another flight of steps, and down a flight of steps to the laundry, and then up a flight of steps and another flight to the bedroom. I said, this is ridiculous. So now we got to sell this place, and the market's not good to sell it. And long story short, we're going to lose $70,000. So I'm going to have to sell it and then pay $70,000 off. That's a lot of money to a lot of people, $70,000. And I looked at it and said, okay, fear would keep us here just paying the mortgage. Focus will make us move out of here, sell it, and not look at it as a loss, but look at it as a future gain, So what do? We sold it, paid off the $70,000, learned a whole lot, focus, went into a home and got the home. So if you look at all of the times, some people have been conditioned that when fear comes in, we just flip a switch, focus, and we move forward. And if I would tell you that every time that bigger things happen to me, I cured the illness of fear quickly. Now, sometimes I needed experts to help me. And I had a whole lot of coaches that I paid a whole lot of money, and I'm thankful for it. At one time, I had up to 7 different coaches: relationship coach, spiritual coach, business coach, marketing coach. The list goes on and on. 7 at one time, and tackling, because I knew something, that the smarter the people you hung around, the better the coaching you got, the faster the fear was put away, the quicker you moved forward. Now, most people don't want to invest in themselves. Well, they invest in some business stuff. They don't invest in them personal selves. And it's where I got the greatest return. So when people turn around and they go, oh, well, Mike, you grew a $32 million company, and it's probably because you did so much business training. But what you don't realize is I did 3 decades of personal training, and I did probably almost a decade of personal training before I ever touched business training. I mean, being in the martial arts that I was in the underground dojo, and learning about chi energy, creating mind, movement, and being able to create levels of focus and discipline for survival at some times and to get solutions at others. When I look back now and I say, well, 3 decades of personal focus improvement, not reading a book. Well, back then there was no podcast. There wasn't even online really back then. There was books or magazines. There wasn't like Barnes and Noble stores. There was like libraries back then, right? So it's very different. The transmission of information to gain power and strength and focus was from one person to another, most of it. It wasn't like that type of stuff was in the newspaper. Later, I learned how to pick up momentum on this. And I still watch people today that live in a state of fear somewhere. If you look at the dynamics of a life wheel and you look at all the areas of life, relationship, if you have fear in a relationship, I had it for many years. I mean, I don't know. My wife would have to remind me, but I mean, I was probably engaged for 9 years. Clearly, there was a sense of fear there. I've been with her since I'm 15, so clearly there was a long time there, right? So when you have relationship fear, that fear doesn't stay in that one bracket of the life wheel. It creeps into all brackets of the life wheel. If you have fear in business, I can guarantee it's going to your relationship, or it's going to your spiritual connection. It's going somewhere else. And if you could just look at what I said, fear is an illness. And if it's left untreated, it will consume you. It will consume you. And most fear, just so you know, almost all fear is predicting a future that never happened yet, referencing a time and a reflection of something that did. You know how many people live in fear from things that happened generations ago? Generations ago. And they live within that fear from all that time ago. They have it. So what I want you to do is consider this an action item tonight. Ask yourself, but be really transparent. Like, I posted a post and people answered. I said, what did it say? Who do you want to become? And the common programmed answer is nobody, just me. The logical answer is I want to become better tomorrow than I am today, knowing that the natural law of ascension says if you're not growing, you're dying. My belief is if you're not growing, you're already dead somewhere. Fear is the ability to break the normal paradigm and be different. There's a sense of fear there. I was telling people, like, when I'm going to go somewhere now and I'm going to either join a new group, I'm always joining some badass group of people, thoroughbreds. I always ask something. One, what's the dress code? because if the dress code is suit and tie, slacks and pants, dress shoes, or it's black tie night, I'm like, unfortunately, I'm not that guy. It's everyone else. It's not me. Because if that's what I need to do, I would only do that because I'm trying to comply to you, or I'm a fear of being myself. That's why I look at people. I go back to a long time ago when my grandmother had passed away, and I went to the funeral. I showed up. I was in, I think I might have been in work clothes and a work shirt. It was definitely just jeans and something. And one of my uncles looked at me and said, "That's what you wear?" I said, "Did she see me any other way? Did you want me to be somebody I wasn't?" I wasn't going to show up as somebody that I wasn't. I was going to show up as somebody that I am. I mean, think of all the fears that people have. How many people, well, first off, I'm a tattooed person, right? And I think about how many people say, "Oh man, I'd love to get a tattoo. I'm just afraid. I fear of it." And I say, which fear? Pain fear, judgment fear, pressure from a family member fear? Which one is it? And which one is the greater fear? And if they really just settle back a moment and think, they go, my dad would kill me. I say, you're 35 years old. Your dad was still, yeah, kill me. I said, okay, you should go back to being 10 years old again, because that's where you're at. You're not living the life you want. You're living the paradigm that your parents want on you because of fear. If you guys could tackle this every day, this fear, and fear is not a sense of being reckless. I'm not telling you don't be afraid and jump off a bridge. That doesn't make any sense. I'm telling you, challenge the fear that might make sense for you to challenge. So that's what I have for you today. Fear is an illness. And if it's left untreated, it's going to consume you. But I promise you this, if it is put with focus and framed and moved forward, you will accomplish things you've never even imagined, and you will live so much better. That's what I got for you. Stay tuned for the next video. If you have a special video that you want me to do for you, or a subject or something like that, do me a favor, just tag me in the message below, or send me a private message and be like, Mike, I'd love to hear your perspective on marriage, children, life, mind, body, anything. If I don't know about it, I'm not going to make it up. I'll bring someone else that does. If I know about it, I'll share with you what I got. Boom.